Welcome back, Tale Tellers. Yes, it's a new day and a new episode. Did you know that Stories, Fables, Ghostly Tales always makes contact with the owners of these stories before using them? Any story that I obtain, I always reach out to the author. Which means these stories are brought to your ears with the intention for them to be heard. Just a cool little fact. So, today's story is a Reddit contributor by the name of Rob666Boss, with the story title, My Childhood Friend's Father. It involves drugs, disturbing presence, weird poems, and threatening messages. This is one seriously messed up story, so strap yourself in, turn the lights off, the sound up, and get ready for something different. Some backstory before I begin. These events started when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, 2002, 2003-ish, and ended during the fall of 2015. I am a 21-year-old female living in Canada. When I was in elementary school, I was friends with a girl named Jessica. We had a group of 5 or 6 girls that we always played with. Jessica's parents were divorced, and I often went over to her dad's house after school because they had a trampoline and a slide. Her dad was a totally normal dude. His name was Richard, and he held a job as a pilot, which is definitely a job that requires mental stability. Jessica came over to my house as well, and her dad would always come pick her up after the playdate, so he was familiar with me and where I lived. In, I think, 2nd or 3rd grade, Jessica moved away to live with her mum. I didn't fully understand what was going on as a child, and I still don't know what happened. But something had gone wrong with her father. We didn't hear much from Jessica, but around her birthday the following year, Richard invited our group of girls over for a surprise birthday party. We arrived at the party and we were waiting for Jessica so we could surprise her. But Jessica never showed up. We were just hanging out with her dad for a while. As a child, this didn't seem as weird as it does to me now. When our parents picked us up, obviously we told them what happened, and we didn't hang out with Jessica or Richard again. After that, some of the girls started receiving presents from Richard at their homes. I never received them, but my mother told me about it years later. The presents usually consisted of cheap jewelry and notes. I have no idea what the notes said, but I'm not sure that I want to. After this, Richard goes away. My mum later told me he was in a mental institution. Years go by, I completely forget about the whole situation. Then, in the winter of 2013, I was out of town for a cheer competition. I was scrolling through Facebook one night when all of a sudden a new group chat popped up with 5 girls from my elementary school. I had not kept in touch with any of them, so this was weird. The chat was about how they had received messages from Richard on Facebook. I checked the other folder on my Facebook messages, and sure enough, I had some too. I had a variety of messages that did not make a lot of sense, including some strange poems. Many of the messages were descriptions of dreams he had about me. Though some of them were nonsense, others were understandable enough to come across as sexually, violently threatening. I don't feel comfortable sharing some of the more explicit messages, but here are a couple of the shorter and less scarier messages. Hi little girl from not long ago. Pristine of pristineness. I want you, I want you, I want you. We're gonna have planets to go to someday, provided you don't melt them first. I'm so proud of you. Stay happy, and I haven't found a way to keep you all off my mind. I can't see the planets till I make you all mine. You're just so rough. And oh, just so fine. As if I'm there, my love's for you. For you I share, it's so indefinite. For it is all about you, that I only care. Oh my goodness, you're all my whipping cream containers. Yeah, I didn't read that one wrong. Alright, I'm gonna keep going. I clicked on Rich's Facebook profile, and his whole profile was dedicated to us 5 girls. He didn't have any friends added, so clearly nobody has seen it. Unfortunately, we didn't have very good security settings on Facebook. He had saved dozens of photos of us, and then reposted them with nonsensical and inappropriate captions. The captions range from essays about his love for us to a one-sentence caption that simply said, "She is so ugly." Here are some of the shorter photo captions. "Emily, hopefully not too soon, I'm gonna find out your YXX8511. And I'm gonna show up as a man that knocks on your front doorstep and bite your bottom lip off before you can say a word. Kiara, because my initial euphoria turns into sunken depression when I realize that there is nothing I can do about anything besides you because you're inside me and I can't get you out of my mind. I love you so much. Melissa, can I paint your picture and I want to lift you around to see how heavy you are and, well, go for a drive on Hollywood Drive with the windows rolled down so we can get a crystal clear view. Fucking give it up, like as if I'm gonna pretend I like it, besides you're just yanking on my strings, cause time after time is always the same common denominator. Which I notice how come you all pluck your eyebrows, but I do pretend I have favorite things, but in reality I don't need them. And I am a good liar because I have a criminal mind like yours. Okay, these just so you know, audience, these are read verbatim, right off the text. It's not me misinterpreting them. We were all freshly 18 at the time and didn't know what to do. So our mums contacted the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. They told us not to block Richard on Facebook, but not to reply, as the messages could be used as evidence. He continued to send us messages every single day, and we shared the screenshots with each other in the group chat and sent them off to the RCMP. He had several different Facebook accounts that were all variations of his name, along with one randomly named Esteban. One of the girls got in touch with Jessica to find out if she still had contact with her father. She only saw him on supervised visits every once in a while. She was very embarrassed and apologized a lot. She was a super sweet girl, and obviously none of us were upset at her in any way. Eventually, Richard was charged with 5 accounts of criminal harassment. He pled guilty and went to jail for around 5 months. When he got out, there was still a no contact order in place, meaning that he could not contact any of us girls or come within a certain radius of our homes. He was not allowed to use the internet either. I'm not sure how all of this works, but this is what the constable handling the case told me. However, not surprisingly, he started contacting us on Facebook again. He went back to jail for breaching his probation. It was the summer of 2015, and he got out again. I started receiving more messages. I immediately wrote on the group chat to see if the other girls had gotten anything. They hadn't. It was just me. I immediately contacted the police. It seems they had forgotten to include my name on the no contact order. He knew not to contact the other girls, but thought it was still safe for him to contact me. This time, things got worse. I had just started working at a new job, and being the idiot that I am, I had my workplace public on my Facebook profile. One day, I came into work and there was a package waiting for me. I was obviously confused because I would never order something to be delivered to my work. I opened it up with my managers, and there was weed inside along with a disc with encryption software on it. He had mailed me weed to my work. I knew immediately that it was him, and awkwardly explained the situation to my managers, who thought it was hilarious. The security in my office tower was alerted and given a photo of him. They began walking me to my bus stop after my shifts. It was scary knowing that he knew where I worked. At this point, I hadn't seen Richard in years, but it was clear that he was mentally unwell. I had absolutely no idea what he was capable of or what his motives were. The RCMP did not seem to take this case very seriously, and they moved very slowly, passing the case around to various officers. Meanwhile, I was terrified. I could hardly walk down my street at night without freaking out. Every time somebody knocked on my door while I was home alone, I would drop whatever I was doing and hide under the kitchen counters. I had not moved since I was a child, so it was very possible that he remembered where I lived. The packages kept coming. I received more weed in several different forms, including cookies, what happened to be cocaine, and a key to his apartment along with some miscellaneous items. I opened all of the packages at the police station. One of the packages included a USB stick with a bunch of audio recordings on them, but I decided it was better for me not to listen to them. The return address on the packages was to a random PO box in another city that did not belong to Richard. and no fingerprints were found on the packages. During all of this, the Facebook messages remained constant. Luckily, in one of the messages, he informed me that he had sent me drugs and the key along with his home address. This confirmed that the packages were from him. He was charged again. I received a subpoena in the mail to appear as a witness in court. However, he once again pleaded guilty, and I never got to go to court. I was actually a bit disappointed, as I thought seeing him in person would provide me with some sort of closure. He is still locked up somewhere as I'm writing this, but I still get scared walking at night or when somebody knocks on the door. The police provided me zero information on where he was being held or when he would be released. I feel like I'm just waiting for the day that he will contact me again. It seems as if every time I think it's over, it isn't. If I do hear from him again, I will be sure to post an update. This situation could have been a lot worse. As far as I know, he did not physically follow me around or anything. I strongly encourage you all to make sure your Facebook privacy settings are as private as possible. Holy moly. This was one deeply disturbing story. Rob666 boss, I really appreciate you giving me the permission to air this one. So thank you once again, and especially how you listened to my show on the car radio before saying yes. Your approval means all that much more to me. I can't even think about what I would have done in your place. There are so many options. Despite the police screwing up your no contact order, you had enough resolve to handle this case yourself. You've got guts, mate. You took the best course possible for the situation you were in. So, that's today's episode, Tale Tellers. I urge you to write down a comment to let me know what you would have done in that situation. And if you get some time, share this story around. It's both curious and carries with it a moral around social media and aspects of the law. Within it is helpful advice for those experiencing a similar situation. And as always, Tale Tellers, till next time.